boys. Let's remember our training.
We are some hippies, these are my friends. Come along with me, see how the story ends. We are some hippies, these are my friends. Come along with me, see how the story ends.
And welcome back to the world of inflation, folks. Isn't it amazing?
You know, my idea was to start off with some AMSR.
Let's just keep printing that money. Ka-ching.
It's the sound of money being printed.
That's exact. That's how Bugs Bunny taught me the sound of money's being made. Ka-ching, ka-ching. Money symbol eyes.
Are you talking about from Cartoon Network, Looney Tunes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my dog. That's that
Yeah.
Hito.
That's how I learned about money.
That's that
Print it.
carrot chewing. I don't know. You're gonna deal with a lot of brain fog today, ladies and gentlemen. If I can't do my job correctly, well, I view a podcast as different. I feel like you don't have to make as much sense as trying to sell somebody a life-changing coaching package. So,
we're just trying to send a life-changing podcast to people, to hopefully millions one day instead of just one.
The last 3 days, I haven't been able to connect A to fucking B with my clients. I mean, that's like, I'm taking notes and stuff, but I mean, thank God they can't see my face, which I'm going to start doing more Zoom calls, but I'm like, what the fuck am I talking about? When you get so sick, you're like, where am I at in this conversation?
Yeah. I've been there. I was like that a few weeks ago. I was completely just under the weather. I definitely had COVID for sure.
And you really have to remember in times like these, like, not to make emotional decisions. Because I'm like, dude, why don't I just, goddamn, go back to selling something easy where I could be fucked up, Like, I just remember how many days I was just shit canned selling Cutco. In case there is PR issues with that, it wasn't Cutco. But yeah, man.
It was Co-Cut, folks. Co-Cut.
Yeah. Cold cuts is what I meant to say. Yeah, but the nuance in sales is a finicky and interesting one where you can't be too far off base unless you're selling stocks, in which cocaine's a borderline requirement.
Yeah, I mean, like with my job, with sales, it's coaching through business decisions and literally helping employees, like, life-changing benefits for them and everything. So I have to be pretty much on top of my game. But like when I worked in hotels, I can go out, hung out the night before and just sling room keys the next day at people like it was nobody's business.
Yeah, I mean, the higher you go up in the food chain of income, right, the more clear your decision-making process needs to be. I mean, and there's an argument for that, like short-term and long-term, right? Like you can be impeded and function at a high level. You see people do it all the time, especially alcoholics. Alcoholics, hats off to you. I've
I feel
always
like a lot of business owners are like that because they can get shit canned the night before if they know they don't have any meetings outside of their company of employees. Like if they have like a board meeting the next day, or if they have to go meet with investors the next day, yeah, I got to keep my shit straight. But if I just have to meet with my management and see how the company's doing the next day, I could probably be like, oh, sorry guys, went out the night before. They were probably all out with me, in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, that's the toughest part though. But like, you create a culture like that. It's just a body thing, man. That's why I've never really been able to get addicted to anything, is because of the repercussions of how bad it feels when you stop doing that thing.
You think the biggest call out day for executives in Silicon Valley is the week after Burning Man?
Either Burning Man or like Coachella.
Yeah, but one of those two, they're just like, we're not going to ever. It's just an unspoken rule that all the executives are just like no meetings after.
I don't know, right?
After
I mean, that is also the weird thing like the more that we have taken care of our bodies when we go to these things, the more we realize like one, um, reducing the amount, right? Moderation helps. Like a lot of really top tier people
Come on.
aren't, they're not getting completely fucked. Like they'll get fucked up, right? But they're not the same people that are like
They're
really
planning it. They're planning
spun
it.
out.
So like halfway through Burning Man, they start making the decision of, okay, we're getting a little closer. I have to start coming back to reality now. Maybe we should.
Oh, yeah, I
No,
mean, it's just one of those things. Like you don't navigate your way into high levels of society and life and not know when to like start tapering things, right? Doesn't mean you can't let that comet burn bright for a little bit, but there's that part.
It's honestly why you're paid the big bucks, because you know when to taper it.
Well, that and the recovery too, right? Like if you take something as
Yeah.
simple as like an IV, to get those IV bags, I think it's like 500, $600, something like that. But that thing will make you feel like a fucking millionaire if you are a millionaire, right? That thing will make you feel 10 times better within, the course of 15 minutes.
They've got to have
So-
IV bags on like rotation at that festival over
Yeah,
in
so
the.
I'm just saying, like Aubrey Marcus, was the one that introduced me to the idea of that, hearing about his supplement company and some of the nights he's had, and he talks about it in one of his books, or his book. I don't know how many books he has, but I think just the one. And what proper supplementation can do for the recovery process. I'm going through right now, just feeling like shit. Not sure if it's the allergies or something else mixed in there, but
Ooh, that would be a good experiment right now, because I know they got the IV places in Austin for sure. If they got them here in Tampa, they got them in Austin.
mhm.
Spend a couple $100, maybe. Just be like, you know what? If I spend a couple $100 and it makes me feel better super quick, then it's probably worth it. And then like if it doesn't, then you're like, all right, well, I know that doesn't work. But then in the future, hey, if I'm sick for a couple days and I don't see it getting better in the next few other days after that, my time actually might be more valuable spending that couple $100 to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean
on
that's
that.
something I've certainly learned. Hey, random thought: have you seen the guy's videos on TikTok or Instagram about how he went from zero to a millionaire just outside of a year?
There's like hundreds of those.
No. There's like one guy that tracked. He was like, "My goal this year is to become a millionaire," not like how I went, and they like play back their story. This guy documented the journey from the get. It was a really interesting take because he was like, I just want to document how the fuck I can become a millionaire. It was watching this kid just try everything, everything under the sun. He was like,
I haven't heard this.
dude, it's super cool and engaging. I stumbled across his videos maybe like 5 or 6 months ago and totally checked out. And he came back across my feed and he was like, I fucking did it. And the funny thing was, I was thinking about this because I'm sick and what else do you do but think about shit when you're sick. What did it for him was like a couple things, but one of the major things was investing into this like obscure crypto. And
So he did big risk, high reward type stuff.
He did everything, brother. I mean,
Yeah.
fucking everything. Like everything you could fucking put your grubby little hands on or advertise to. Like,
So was
Google,
he like? I mean, was he out pressure washing lawns, or was he doing it all online?
Sure as shit. No, yeah, I'm pretty sure he like
Really?
did a landscaping business thing. He did. I think he tried to do wholesaling houses, not Airbnb, arbitrage with like drop shipping products, like Google Ads. Fucking the lot.
So within a year span, he did that.
I want to say 14 months.
Okay, still pretty good.
Yeah.
I would like to see. I'm going to check him out because I'm going to see, did he become a millionaire based off the profit off of each of these ventures combined, or was it like this one failed, this one failed, this one failed, this one stuck?
No, he did it legit, bro. So he tells you like, okay, here's my revenue, here's what I lost here, and he just kind of keeps tallying. So it's like you get to see it build up in real time.
See if we can get him on. DM him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's blowing up with requests, but let's see.
Who knows, man? Yeah, it was just super cool to see. And I thought when I came across this video the other day, I was like, man, it's so cool because now with selling the house, I'm gonna have this influx of income that I didn't anticipate,
Strip club.
and right, and but you just see the power of thinking and how it can influence because the guy made a comment about one of these cryptos that he invested in. He put like $700
Yeah.
into it, and
Yeah.
then didn't think anything of it. And then over like a couple months, it went up to like I think it was Solana. I think that was the one.
That one had a splurge. Yeah.
Yeah, so he went
Remember
up from
seeing
like
that.
$700 to like $3,000, and he was like, "Okay, like I made some money." So he took out like $1,000 or whatever, and then left a couple grand in there, and then went from like $3,000 to $7,000, and he was like, "Hot dog." Took a couple grand off, and he's like, "Surely, but he kept letting it go." Then went from 7 to 20, and he was like, "Oh shit!" So he like really locked in some profits, and then left like 12, 15 on the table, and then that went to 136,000. And so a couple of things like that. But here's the deal: had he not been on the quest that he was on, he wouldn't have put himself in that position.
He put
Right.
himself in that mindset, like, okay, take it, invest it back in, invest it back in.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. It just opened up some interesting thoughts for me, and I don't remember
Let's
what
get
we were
that guy
talking about
on.
before.
I want to get that guy on. That sounds awesome. Like that'd be a good story to listen to.
You do like turning guys on, don't you, Dylan? Getting guys
Who-
off on.
If I like being turned on, I'm sure reciprocating is probably the way out to go.
Dude, you have the gay community wrapped around your finger right now at this moment in time. I'll tell you what, that is a slogan in the making.
Hey, you know what? More listeners. I just just gets better and better.
I was told that Austin has a demand for a better strip club population.
As a
Venue.
demand.
Yeah, apparently strip clubs here are just shit.
Well, I mean, you can't. It's hard to beat Florida. I mean,
I
Tampa's
say
renowned
apparently.
for it.
I've been to 2 of them, and yeah, they weren't that great. So
I know Tampa's renowned for them, so you don't have to go far here.
I just do not have to go far. Do not have to go far, man. I don't know. That's just one of those things that I don't. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. It's just not really my cup of tea. You know what
It's
I mean?
cool with like a group of buddies when you've been going, and then it's the late night thing to go to.
It's
At
like
the end of the
NASCAR.
night.
I get super fired up about it for somebody else. Like if somebody else is super stoked about watching a NASCAR race or going to one for that matter, fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's get tore up and go do it, man. Or golf. I don't know why I'm comparing it to sports. Maybe it is a bit of a sporting event.
Masters are on right now.
I
Watched
know.
that today. Tiger
going
made
on?
it back in.
Oh yeah.
He's playing again. He was finished 10th today. The last time I checked. So I was
Dude,
watching
Tyler
that.
can make a rally. Apparently, what is there like a 19-year-old kid that's making a run right now?
There was a 23-year-old, Jaquan Neiman.
Oh yeah,
Pretty
is
good
he the
today.
one leading right now?
He was for a minute, but he's not leading right now. I just glanced by it as I've been having it running all day, just in the background.
Yeah, I wonder. So I don't know. The
Played
Masters
golf on Sunday with my dad. Realized how much I sucked again. Every time I do it, I'm like, oh, that's right, I suck.
Oh, dude,
Sorry
it's
about
so
that.
much fun to suck at that game, though,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Well, I mean, you start getting better. It's just funny because you start getting better because you loosen up as you're drinking on the course, smoking a doobie, having a great time, and you get better as you go along because you start like not caring as much, and you're like, oh, if you actually keep loose on the course, it's way better.
So they play for a couple more days. The
Yeah.
winner gets $11 million. So do they just like play
Just a
through
little bit.
one time? How does that work?
I think people are gonna hate on us if we get this wrong.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think it's the best out of your 3
Okay.
plays. I think that's how it goes, and
Sure.
whoever has the best out of all 3 wins.
Okay. Yeah,
It's
rock
that or
on.
an average score, one of the two.
Yeah, I don't even want to pretend to know. But what I did learn today from the Masters TikTok account, I've ingested a massive amount of internet over the past few days. The clubhouse of the Masters makes $80,000 an hour during the week of the Masters.
Do you see the prices of like food and drinks and stuff?
Is that correct?
It's like
No,
2
I'm
or
sorry. $800,000 per hour.
Oh man.
They make approximately $50 million. This is just the Masters clubhouse. $50
Just the clubhouse.
million. Just the clubhouse.
That's not even including, maybe bars on the course spread out across the place, like tents, maybe popped up
Dude.
here and there. I
Oh
heard
my gosh.
this was years ago. I don't know if it is still, but I think I was seeing it. There's a 10-year waiting list to play on the course if you're not a club member.
10 years, huh?
Yeah, so you can put in your name and then
How much
hopefully
are
get
they
there one day.
honoring that? Is it
Probably a
like
ton. There's
really?
a ton of people that would want to play on that course. Yeah,
No,
because you
yeah,
have to
I
keep it.
hear you, but like
You have to
10
keep it.
years.
You have to keep it so well maintained that you can only let so many people on a day. So they probably haven't known that like this many people walk across this patch of grass will kill this piece of grass, and then it's that hard to grow. So if we keep it at this amount of people a day, this many club members plus
Yeah, but
allotment
like, look,
of
here's the deal. You
regular
and I,
people,
Joe blows. We're
regular
like,
people.
hey, yeah, quick. We'll throw our hat in the ring. 10 years, 10 years from now, right? So we put it on our calendar. 10 years goes by, and we call and just check in. We're like, hey, it's been 10 years. Thought we'd give you
Yeah.
guys a call. I know good and well that man on the other end of the phone is going to go, did you really think we wouldn't just bump you a couple years? Did you really, you didn't think the Obamas coming to town would just bump over you? Yeah. Yeah. 2 more years, bub.
No, I would think by then, they go and look at my list, and I'm like a CEO or something at that point, and they're like, "Oh, you're here. What are you doing? Waiting till you get on in here? What are you doing?"
Dylan just pulls the old line. You know that I have everyone's email ever, right? Do you know who
I
I
have
am?
all of you. Not only you here, I have all of your club members' emails,
You
and
may
then their
use the
companies.
Zoom, but my blackmail was born in the Zoom.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, so for anybody who doesn't know, Dylan just has some bullshit through his work. So if he's want to threaten anybody, he looks up the CEO of a company, president.
I don't
through the
do
Zoom.
that. I don't do that.
You look at that camera and swear on something you give a fuck about and say you don't do that.
I don't do that. Holding the lava lamp. I don't do that.
I don't do that.
I don't do that.
Oh man, I'll tell you what though. I'll tell you what I do. I have felt like digging dog shit for the past couple days, man.
The past couple of days, Christy and I have been working on closing on an investment property. I tell you what,
I was trying to segue into that.
Those are way more finicky than closing on like your own home property. Like how much you got to put down and everything. Turns out like, so we were going to do like 20% down. Standard.
Right.
Investment property. Yeah. Because the condo that we have is in a area that is very high investor. Like, so most of the condos in this complex are owned and rented out. So they're owned by investors, basically.
Sure.
Because of that and the Fannie Mae rules, if it's in a high investor area, it has to be 30%.
That's unfortunate.
That was like, anything we can do on that? And the people were like, Fannie Mae says no.
Fannie Mae says no.
So
well,
that's not a big deal. Like we'll make it work. It's just like you went into an expectation.
Is there anything that you can like renovate, remodel with that unit?
No, it's literally good to go. Like there's really, yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, we can rip out the carpet and put like vinyl in there, make it a little nicer. We're gonna bump up the rent, that type of stuff.
Well, not just that, but like refinancing it.
Well, if we do that, the refinancing would come if we go into a recession coming up in the future, because then the rates would go down at that point. It'd be perfect time to refinance then.
The rates would go up in a recession.
Because they would want to, with inflation, the recession would happen because of inflation, runaway inflation happening, projected. And so because of that, the runaway inflation, they would want to bring the rates back down to encourage people to spend money back into the market.
You do understand you have that backwards, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, because the rates are going up right now, right? So rates are going back up currently.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just a lever. Like these are not directly connected, by the way. So, with my limited understanding, but pretty concrete understanding of how the Fed can address the market, one's through inflation, one's through interest rates on the housing market. Sure,
I
but
have a theory that this recession, potential recession that's coming up, is it's obviously a recession that we've never type of recession we've never seen before. I think it's going to be the previous recessions were really hitting people's pocketbooks, right?
uh huh.
Like there's just it was just the consumer people companies were laying off people weren't making money. There's no way to do it, right? And the price of oil goes up, whatever. I think this recession is going to be more of a recession towards businesses than it is the consumer's pocketbook because we're still getting super high resignations coming in from companies, reports, and people are figuring out ways to make money on their own without having to go through the 9 to 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because of that, I think they're pushing recession. But let's say the recession happens, I think people are still going to find ways to make money because they already were before the recession happened through their own ventures, right? And I think the recession is going to fall more towards a pain point towards businesses because they can't attract people to come work. And so because of that, it's not going to be a demand issue like it has in previous recessions where people didn't want to spend money. I think it's going to be more of a supply issue in the situation. And I think it's going to be interesting too because usually in these circumstances when the recessions hit, the price of oil goes up, and so people have a hard time paying it. And it was already going up during this inflation issue right now. But also, people aren't really buying oil as much as they were because they can work from home now a lot. A lot of oil was spent because just of commuting back and forth. So I don't know where that would go. I don't know everything that I just said will go. I just think the recession will hit more of businesses than it will the consumers. I don't know
So
what that means.
like in middle school when you read your friend's essay that he prepared like the night before,
That was me. Yeah.
that's what that felt like. That
Yeah.
was
That's 100% what that is. That's 100%
I
what that is.
felt the intention and I could definitely coerce a thought from it, but did I
I was
see
the guy that not only wrote it the night before, I was also the one that read it and then thought that also. Was like, what if
perfect. I mean, I looked at that and I said, "Where are the citations?" Right?
I have
in my
both sides of the aisle on that. Yeah, I just don't know. That's just because even like the CEO of BlackRock has come out and he's like, people better strap up because we've never seen this type of situation come down the chain before in human
Well,
history.
by the way, do you know how much fucking money BlackRock's worth?
Yeah, BlackRock is literally insanely. BlackRock can buy the world. It's
Dude,
insane.
$7 trillion.
Yeah, BlackRock can buy the
What
world,
is
but
that?
I mean, they're the ones that are driving up rental cost pricing, by the way. Like, so, I mean,
Hey,
I'm
cool,
just trying to
rock
get,
out, man. We all need
my,
greedy
I'm just
people.
trying to get my little chunk from BlackRock before they get it.
Oh yeah, dude. Hey, at 1%, I'd be cool with it. Not asking for
Just
much.
1%.
Yeah, I'll be willing to settle for 0.5%.
I'll take
Um,
0.1% of what they have, and I'll
yeah,
go
I
buy
know.
an island. I'll be
If they're
happy.
not looking in a direction, they just dropped a breadcrumb of that
They want to
portfolio.
sneeze a little bit. If they want to
Oh
sneeze it
my
on my
god,
face, just sneeze it
dude.
on my face. I'll inhale it
I'd
like
flick
COVID.
my bean so hard for that. But so, man, there was a really good thought in there. Oh, so anyway, yeah, with the whole BlackRock situation or like the world at large, like one of the interesting things that they talk about, like in she mentioned in her book, Money Matters, Money Mindset. I don't know. It's like the number one trending. I believe I told you about it when I bought it. Great book. But one of the interesting themes that she talked about with investing was, hey, history is made all the time, and history is repeated all the time, but that does not validate or ensure that it's going to repeat itself, right? So,
Hmm.
to your point, yeah, we're definitely on the precipice of something. Do we know what it is? No. Are we always there? Sure. But yeah, I mean, there is probably real steady unemployment right now. It's nothing crazy, right? But we're at a pretty okay spot. But that is because of the opportunities that are decentralized right now. You think about
Yeah.
somebody being able to make $50,000-$60,000 in income. They can fucking make that on Etsy, making hair bands of cute ribbon and just sell
Yeah,
a
I was
shit
telling
ton of
someone
those.
that the other day. If you come up with a little thing, let's say a glass blown elephant, and then figure out how to promote it on social media properly as like a upcoming
Doesn't
Christmas
even have to
gift.
be properly. Bro, you know what? I get addicted to some weird ass shit every now and then. So I'm gonna show my peacock colors right now. Like, okay, take this cup, right? And you like a glass mason jar. There's this woman on TikTok that I saw this dude making fun of. He wasn't even making fun of. He was just, making some content. I came across this chick. She just has this little rotating thing and she's got her live feed and she's just putting like nail polish on this jar or something, making you your own tumbler. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this woman, she's got a big old gobbler. They ain't nothing to look at. It's not like people are tuning in because she's a fox. She's just on this little country girl on this little rotating mason jar thing, just dripping nail polish and making whatever the fuck the people want. And you order it through the live thing. It's like 30
Oh, they
bucks.
can order it like while she's making it.
Yeah. And so like the video the
Genius.
dude made was like people spam the chat with the wrong thing. She made the wrong color. She felt bad. It was a funny video. So, whatever. She just sells that on her. So she has this little shop. And she's selling these
Genius.
for 30 bucks. What's she in it for? The mason jars, maybe all of what at wholesale, $2-3, right?
Maybe less if she's buying a
Right.
ton of those.
Cases of these things. And then the fucking nail polish, which can be cheap, cannot. Maybe you're $5 for that, right? But you're selling it for 30. And if she's doing 3 or 4 or 5 of these an hour, let's just say 3 or 4, right? With a $20 minimum spread, if they cover shipping,
And I'm
$20.
like, and
She's making
someone like
60
me
bucks an
comes
hour.
along, I'm like, high as fuck, just like scrolling. I come across, I'm like, look at this beautiful gift for my grandma. $30.
Dylan, she had like 10,000 people. And because I watched it for like 10, 15 minutes, I was baked as fuck. And because I watched it, now it's showing
See?
up. She routinely has thousands of women on there watching her shit. And she's talking about nothing.
Wow.
Talking about
Just
nothing.
talking.
Hanging
There was
out, fucking putting fingernail polish. So these are the opportunities that are available that like Gary Vaynerchuk and so many other influencers talk about all the time that our parents didn't have. Those opportunities just weren't there.
There was a guy that I've seen a couple articles come out about him. One, the guy just filmed himself sleeping and sponsored it and published it on social media, like watch this guy sleep and give money.
Yeah.
And then another I saw, and he made, I don't know, thousands of dollars off that. And the second one that article came out, was he improved it by like coming up with noises that you could press and then it would disturb him.
Mm-hmm.
And he made $16,000 in one night.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think he actually made 6 figures off that. I mean, but all this comes back to really being open-minded to the opportunity.
People are figuring out ways to make the money without having to go to the 9 to 5. And that's where I'm thinking the recession is going to hit more. Actually the recession on the businesses themselves, on them more than it will be the people. Like even the corporations like Walmart, someone working at Walmart pushing through a cash register, they're going to be like, see someone sleeping, they're going to be like, oh, I could do that. And Walmart's trying
but I mean, to play devil's
drag
advocate here, like, when we're talking about like a function of an economy, like less cars on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, cars probably account for what, 20% of greenhouse gases. And as far as for fuel economy, things like that, I mean, what your oil is going to, I don't know what percentage of people that are being displaced voluntarily by resigning from their job and deciding to go for a different venture. I don't know what that amount is going to represent at the cap of the workforce that's going to influence something like oil. But yeah, I just don't see that. I don't see that being a big function of a recession as much as something like rising interest rates to offset like
Yeah.
a really hot market right now. I mean, that's a much bigger lever that's being pulled right now.
Yeah.
And you know, you got all these new homes being built, lumber prices are fucking crazy. So, you know, the Fed's just trying to cool some stuff before we have kind of a runaway situation, trying to like steady the growth a little bit more.
Rein her back in a little
When you
bit.
look at the market like in Tampa and Austin, I mean, it's just absolutely fucking insane.
It's insane right now how much is blowing up. Even here in St. Pete and Tampa, like it's interesting seeing a lot of people complain to the mayor about like the rising cost of like homes and stuff and to rent here. And I'm kind of like, that's good though. Like the only
Yeah.
reason why you're complaining is because you're renting.
Well, we're just seeing a shift.
You're not improving your situation in order to move up with the area that you're like. For example, right? People are complaining about that. I don't want to go live in Miami because my finances, particularly, it would just be super expensive to live there. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just way too much. But here, I'm comfortable, right? But
Right.
I can see everything's going up. So because everything is, I could see the price of everything, of renting and owning is going up here in Tampa. It's a perfect opportunity to move up with it. Like, okay, cool. I'm going to work harder to keep up this level. I'm not going to stay at the same level and complain about the situation I'm in because then I'm going to get pushed out. I'm going to have to go move to Lakeland. We all know Lakeland sucks.
That's where
So
dreams go to die.
that's where dreams go to die. So
Yeah.
instead is complaining about the situation. Why not actually be a part of the growth and help it keep going up? And then you're getting your own little chunk of it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. In a weird way, I feel that's somehow linked to abortion, but I'm not sure how.
I would 1,000,000,000 miles per hour trying to think about that link and I could not.
Oh man, I
Could
don't
not
know.
link it
You, Glenn, you decide if that should stay in or not. Yeah, man. I mean, we're definitely on the verge of something for sure. You know, do I feel really good about selling my house? Absolutely. Because I do think that the housing market is going to be affected. I don't know about in Tampa. I don't know about in Austin. These are two really abnormally hot markets.
I was
but-
having that conversation with someone the other day. Was they were talking about the housing market going down? I'm like, well, hold on. If that does come, it isn't going. It's going to happen to a lot, but it isn't going to happen to certain markets
yeah,
for sure.
I
Like,
get
look
more
at
and more interested in the idea of wholesaling or
look at
investing.
New York right now, right? New York mayor just came out and putting up billboards around Florida advertising to gay people to move to New York.
Really?
He's trying to attract that market to try to get them to
Doesn't
move back
Tampa
to
like
New
have
York.
gays on lock? Like we got a pretty good gay scene there.
Miami does, Tampa
Yeah.
does, Orlando does. Like, but you see it like how desperate these bigger
Florida's
cities
a very
were
red state,
that
but
were grow.
you know, in a lot of parts, very very gay friendly, very open minded, and
There's a lot of
larger
liberal
cities.
gays here for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
I know several gays that own guns and are happy to go mud bogging and do whatever, but they also have their own.
I mean, I think you're
liberal
playing a
agenda too as
stereotype
well.
a little hard there. I think there's, you know,
No, I mean like if you're living in
flamboyant
Florida,
gay.
like for sure. But
You
if you
know?
go to like California, it's just a different type.
I just most people don't understand. Like, we don't make everybody go through Florida training, but like, if you're gonna be gay and move to Florida, you need to know how to wrestle an alligator for sure.
100%. That's
Yeah.
a key. You never know. I've been through 4 instances in my life. They just pop out. You know?
You just gotta be able. Whoa,
You never know. You're in your
You're an
pool and all of a
alligator.
sudden
and
it
I'm gonna
comes
wrestle
crawling
it,
by
you know?
and jumps in the pool with you. You got to be ready.
That's
Sometimes
why I always
you
keep a jar of peanut butter.
dominate.
handy.
Sometimes you got sometimes you got to dominate. You know, it's alpha. He wants to be the alpha. You
Interesting.
got to be
You
the
take the domination approach. I saw you for a little spoon kind of thing. I mean, both techniques historically have shown to subdue gator.
What was the other way?
What?
What was the other way? Peanut butter jar?
Toothbrush. You know, Mom always said alligators are angry because they ain't got no toothbrush and brush them teeth.
And the other breath juice. Maybe that's why they're always trying to be aggressive. They're like, man, I ain't got no fluoride.
That's all they want is some clean, fresh. Sponsored by Colgate. Go out. 9 out of 10. Dentist recommend. Um,
Damn, 1 out of 10.
yeah. So, I mean, when you look at those markets, they definitely feel insulated just because of the amount of people from California and New York moving. Like, especially here, it's you don't you don't
It's
feel any kind of anything
what's
coming.
interesting too, if you watch like what they talk about where California and New York are moving to, you see a lot of the media talk mostly about Austin, which is a more than it is for sure Florida. But there is a good chunk moving to Florida, and they do not want to talk about it. It's very interesting seeing that.
Yeah,
Also, Denver. You see a lot moving to Denver too, but you don't.
my
It's
sense
just
is that
interesting
Denver
that
is
they
getting pretty maxed out. I think
Denver is getting maxed out. Utah is becoming bigger. I've seen that,
Mhm.
but they really don't want to talk about Florida getting like collecting a lot of new people. It's just
Yeah.
interesting they don't want to do that.
I guess it depends on what channel you're kind of hearing that ripple from. Yeah, because by far and large, Texas
True.
is collecting a fucking ton of people from those states that are fleeting. But now with the COVID stuff kind of cooling off, I think we'll see a bit of that chilling out, right? Unless some other fucking wave of
I don't
shutdown
think
stuff.
so because it's even with COVID cooling down, they were already moving out really before COVID. COVID was just like the, the thing that broke the camel's back basically to help a lot of people with their decision at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Um, the homeless problem is just growing there. Everything's still expensive in California. I could
Mm,
I talked to someone about this not long ago why they were the ports and everything for lumber, right? Or right like right there, I guess. The San Francisco, right? Everything, the cost of living and everything is up there. But the ports to deliver things, that's one of the major ports, that in LA
yeah.
to deliver things. So I talked to somebody that lived out there, a firefighter that lived out there, and I was like, why is the cost of lumber so high here when there's just plenty of it everywhere? Like, why does it get more tax? And he goes, not there's a law in place that when they cut the lumber down, they have to transport it back to San Francisco to them to for whatever law is there, and then it gets double or triple tax because it's being sold out of San Francisco. It has to be transported back to San Francisco. Then so it can't be sold from a seller from where it was cut down from. It's a law that requires it to be shipped to San Francisco first, and then it's triple taxed
Dylan,
before it
what the
goes
fuck are
right
you
back
talking
out.
about? Are you talking about lumber has to go to San Francisco to be processed?
Yes.
You're going to tell me all the lumber in the United States that's cut down has to go to San
No,
Francisco to be processed?
in California is what I'm talking
Oh.
about.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm
Yeah, I
talking
mean,
about. It
yeah,
like
that makes
that. What I'm
sense.
saying
Like,
is that like
look at the way California's built anything. It's
people are leaving
ass
there
fucking
because
backwards.
people are leaving because like there's things that just don't make sense. Like why are
Dude,
we doing these things there?
I totally resonate with some talking head I heard one thought, and he was like, California is successful. What is it GDP wise? It's like number 30 in
Yeah,
the world.
in the world.
Yeah.
Excited to
So
see where that goes though.
California is successful in spite of all the regulations, not because of. It is just unfathomable to think about how successful California could be if so much of that red tape and bureaucratic bullshit got out of the way.
Yeah.
Right?
I also realized because I watched the Enron documentary the other day how screwed California was getting during the Enron days when the rolling blackouts were happening, and it was
Oh yeah.
literally being caused by Enron and a lot of companies like that. And then I thought, well, when I look at it from that perspective, they create these regulations to protect themselves, and then it just went way out of hand. Like they were like, "Hey, we're getting screwed. We need to put things in place so we can stop getting fucked with, basically,
It
other
always
people
starts
around
from
the
somewhere, doesn't
country."
it? Like
And
lobbying.
then the politicians just rolled with it and took way advantage of it. And
Wouldn't
now
you? Wouldn't you? Think about
I
it.
was getting paid, sure, yeah, I guess.
That's just how it works. Everybody
You start
likes to
looking at the
think
numbers.
you do the right thing, but look at global warming. No one's looking, right? Are you doing the right thing all the time? Probably
Well, no,
not.
there's people looking, but then there's people that are taking advantage of people's heartstrings on the global warming to try to make money on it. It's not really directing it towards where it should go.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like anything else, right? 20% of your things are going to drive 80% of your results. And so I can recycle my plastic bottles all I want, but judging on the blue algae plumes, when I had to sign a fucking waiver to rent a kayak and go in the river in Austin, they're like, hey, by the way, I wouldn't get in that water because all the companies dumping shit. I'm like, well, I
What was that?
recycled this week. I recycled my Amazon packages, so I'm saving dolphins, right?
What was
That's
that Tennessee River that we saw that all the companies were dumping water into it? And it just looked like brown crap.
Oh yeah,
Remember
dude.
that?
Yeah, that was just the fucking worst, man. You're like the Mississippi River apparently just gets hell too. Like that's one of those rivers that just catches everything.
That's why the crocodiles will thrive there. They're like, oh hell yeah, we catch it all.
Well, I'm
We
pretty
catch
sure
it
it'd
all.
be alligators.
It's a mix because
Is
you get
it?
brackish. Yeah, you get the
Right.
brackish there too.
But that's at the
Coming up.
Delta.
Yeah, but they come back up into there. They got a little bit of mix.
Oh, that's
They
true.
come up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean Mississippi's known for being really accepting of mixing historically.
You're right.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what comes. I feel like this is one of those times in history where I feel like really good about my standing on a lot of shit. Pretty liquid. So I'm gonna ride
Pretty
things
liquid.
for about 6 months, 8 months, and see what kind of investment opportunities come up. But I think the main thing I'm excited about is investing into real estate.
Me too. That's what I want to get into because as soon as you get kind of more things going and eventually you kind of reach where it's all becoming pretty profitable, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I could survive off this and work for myself.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. Manage those. Cut me a check. I'm gonna go hike these volcanoes. Let's see
Yeah,
later.
yeah, it's one house a year, man. It starts to snowball pretty quick, and I don't know, man. Maybe
That's a
that's
good. That's a good general rule to look at. One house a year, if you can, or one house every other year, getting them fixed up.
yeah. Some of the things I've been following lately is that somewhere around 250,000, the value of a home, right? You buy it for 250,000, and let's say you got to put 20% down, right? So that's going to be approximately 50,000, give or take, with your closing costs. There's other ways you can do it too, right? So if you were to consider your primary residence, I think in most cases, if most people were to think, if I could get 20 grand together, you can buy a house, right? So if you get
Yeah.
20 grand together, you buy that house. Let's say it's a nice standard home for about 250,000. Anything above that is when it starts to hurt your margins for what you can rent it for. Like the
Mhm.
house here I bought, for 540,000. It'd be tough to put somebody in this house for $4,000 a month. In Austin, it's a little different, right? But like, you rent a house, say your mortgage is 1,300.
I don't know. In Austin, I feel like that would be difficult because there's so many of them. In St. Pete, it wouldn't be too difficult because it's kind of mostly around the edge of St. Pete. A lot of the middle spot, it's just kind of middle income families.
Yeah,
But
I
around
mean,
the
well,
edge, so the amount of them that you could rent out for 4,000 is way lower here. But people want to live here, so you could do it. Austin, I feel like you could do it, but you're competing with basically your neighborhood if people want to also do the same thing.
yeah, no, you definitely missed the point on that. So anyway, um, Austin and St. Peter are just as competitive. I'm saying when you talk about the market of people that can afford $4,000 a month in rent, is typically the same people who can just go buy. Do you see what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So at a certain point, the higher you go in the net value of the home, the more the pool shrinks for your potential clients, renters,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So around 250,000 is where your mortgage can be anywhere between 1,000 and 1,300. As interest rates go up, that's going to change a little bit, but you can still charge 2,000, 2,500. So you can make about 1,200, 900 to 1,200 a month in net income.
Mhm.
after maintenance and whatever, let's just call it 1,000, right? Average 1,000 profit per month. You just put that in a separate account. After 2 years, you get the second house, right? So now in 3 years,
Mhm.
you bought 2 homes, but those are doubling up. So then in 1.5 years, you can buy another home. And then it starts to
Mhm.
compound, right? So
Mhm.
after 3.5 years, now you're at 3 homes, right? At 4 years, you're at 4 homes. 4.5 years, you could be at 5. So it really does start to stack. And that's the vision I see and what I want to go after.
Yeah. That's pretty much the same vision here. Trying to do.
Mm.
Get this going. Get my little chunk of real estate. Live off of that.
Yeah.
Go skiing.
Nothing huge. Just, skiing.
Just get the little chunk, because if the big corporations are doing it, then there's little chunks.
Why
that could
can't I? Why
pull a
can't I?
piece. Yeah. Why can't I? What's the deal with that? You know?
All right. Speaking of which, I'm going to go take a bubble bath. So there's that.
Ooh, that sounds lovely, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
so I'm actually, you can help me before you speaking of baths, you can help me with this. Looking
me.
to remodel, since I don't think I'm going to do the extension on the house. I think I'm just going to leave it as a 2-1 and it's just rent it out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just better economically.
Who told you that?
Do I do the one shower, the one bath? Do I do it as a walk-in shower, renting out the property, or do I do it as a shower tub combo? You know, I've gotten mix on it. I've gotten people that said, even real estate, they're like, just do shower. Everyone's buying shower. I've gotten people that said, well, what if a single family moves in? They got a little kid. You want a tub? You know, I've heard a little bit of both. Wanted to get your take on that.
Yeah, I would say from a value standpoint, I think it's gonna be nominal, right? Like with the demand in St. Pete. From a cost standpoint, there's certainly going to be a difference. So that's probably going to be your biggest indicator. That's probably going to be your biggest factor.
They're actually about the same, because I have to take everything out to redo the plumbing underneath the floor.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that, and it needs a whole new tub anyways. And so basically the cost is going to be pretty much the same comparatively, because I'm putting the cost is basically going to tile for showering or a new tub.
Yeah, well, with a tub, you don't have to put in like a whole new shower pan, and the labor for a tub's going to be easier for sure. With a tub, you're talking about just taking out the tub you got in there, bust that motherfucker up, cut it in half, put a new tub in. If you do a stand-up shower, you're going to have to put in a shower pan, potentially move your drain, right? You could keep the drain where it's at. You're going to have to pay for the labor for someone that's qualified to do that, or they're going to fuck it up like it was in my Tampa house, right? So the shower is probably going to be about $2,000 more. At a minimum, $1,000 more for sure. Now, is that nominal to you? I don't know. Does it add more value? Not really, right? So it's like, do you want to pay more money to have something that doesn't also give a family a benefit? So I would lean towards the tub, right? It's lower cost. It gives you more value, more opportunity, more attraction to the overall market, more flexibility. And is anybody really going to look at is anyone really going to look at a tub and go like, oh my God, I really wish I had a standing shower only? No. They're going to be like,
if they're renting 2-1. If they're renting a 2-1, this isn't the type of house that you're like looking to live in for a long time.
Expecting luxury. So you're not like, oh fuck. No, they're going to look at that and go, oh cool. If I want to take a bubble bath every now and then, sweet. I have that
opportunity in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. That was a good explanation of that. All right, man. We'll go take a nice bubble bath. I'm going to go work on all this other stuff. Third Eye, baby. Love all of you. Thanks for listening. And we got the 420 episode coming up soon, so looking forward to that. Ham Dog's coming back, baby.
Ham Dog.
Ham Dog. All right, folks. Peace.